So a lot of people think that there's a housing bubble coming. They're seeing real estate, they're seeing the prices, they're also seeing interest rates, and they think that the housing market is gonna completely collapse. So this is gonna be an update that addresses those issues. Are they really gonna happen? I'm gonna talk about the local market in Thurston County, South Sound of Washington, but I'm also gonna talk about it on a national level as well. So in our local area, the average home in the last 24 months has went from 380,000 all the way up to 524,000. That's 37.5% in 2 years. That is pretty crazy. I mean, that's approaching half of the value of the home just in the last 2 years. And this is happening everywhere. So check out this slide. This is the change in the home prices per state in the last year. So you'll see for Washington State, it's 20.1, and for the entire nation, it's 17.5%. So when home prices are coming up this fast, and with interest rates rising, it leads everybody to the same conclusion, and that's, is a housing bubble currently about to burst? In fact, according to Realtor.com right now, 77% of people have worries of a housing bubble. That's 3 out of 4 people in the country. But as you can see, less than half of real estate agents are actually worried about a housing bubble. And why is that? Most of them understand that it's a supply and demand issue. And right now we're looking at historically low supply. And it's not that there's no new homes being listed. In fact, you'll see later that there's actually more homes being listed this year than last year. It's just they're being sold really fast. So again, you got rent prices coming up, you've got interest rates that have recently increased substantially. What that is doing is just having a lot of extra people jump into the housing market. So I could go on and on about why this is not a housing bubble, but I'm only going to show you 2 points as to why the supply is so low across the country and why that can't be corrected overnight. So check out this slide from the National Association of Realtors. In the last housing crash, this is the months of supply. This is actually, so the orange is the amount of homes that were available for people to purchase in those years. So 2007 through 2010. And you can see that it was substantially higher than what we've seen from 2018 to 2021. In the blue, it's actually continuing to go down even further. So from 3.7 to 3 to 1.9 to 1.8. So it's historically low. And in fact, in our area in Thurston County, this is actually not even 1 on the chart. It's actually 0.5, so it's half of 1. So historically low supply. So the other major distinction between the housing bubble that happened last time versus if one's happening now is the way that lending practices are occurring. The way that the last several years of people borrowing money now versus then. So not only have lending practices since then gotten really a lot stricter, but also just the volume of the loans. So check out this slide. Volume of loans in billions with a higher credit score. Back then, there was a lot of people borrowing money with lower credit scores. There was also a lot of people borrowing money that maybe shouldn't have been getting these loans. So the credit worthiness of all the people that have been purchasing in recent history, all the way back to when the last housing bubble happened, is much, much better. This would take a lot more time to explain in great detail, but this is also why we have a lot less agents and consumers who are seeing this every day. Not be as concerned that we're heading towards a housing bubble. So let's take a look at where we're heading, what the home experts around the country think that home prices are going to do next. So you'll see from this slide of those experts, 6.1% is the expected increase of pricing around the country for the next year. So for all of 2022. So fueled by the lower supply, the rising interest rates, this is expected to continue, that these prices are going to climb. But bear in mind that this rate that everybody thinks that is going to happen, these experts, is a lot lower than the previous 2 years. Remember when I told you 37.5% just locally for our area? That is much more on a yearly basis than 6.1. For us here locally, 6.1 I think is very conservative. So let's get into the numbers locally And I personally believe like that number is going to be quite a bit higher. The number one biggest change we saw here locally, other than the anecdotal stuff, right? People are writing lots of offers. People are struggling to kind of get their offers accepted. What we saw is that the amount of new listings that came on last month was substantially higher, 40% higher. So we went from 292 new listings in the previous month to 408 this past month, for a 40% increase. So this is good news. This is a little bit of relief. So, and every year, and in previous updates I've showed you, this happens every year except for 2020 kind of COVID setting in. So we are going to see more listings coming on market all the way until the summertime. So what's happening is these listings are coming on market, these new listings, but they're selling really fast in about 5 days on average. So whenever we look at what's available at any given time on the market, it actually really matters if it's a Monday or a Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on and so forth. So what we saw in the first of the month is that there were 141 active properties. In the previous month, there was 146. So it actually was a slightly lower number, but albeit kind of the same. Because of this extra new amount of new listings, we also saw the number of pending. So those are the ones under contract, right? So we saw that increase from 336 to 405 for a 21% increase. And we'll expect to see that continue as the numbers build into the spring. A lot of this just has to do with the fact that there's extra daylight. We can go show homes. There's more time to show those homes, which means more people looking, which means more offers, which means more pending. So the second thing that did change quite a bit, I was a little surprised by this, but the number of homes that actually went under contract decreased from 467 to 287, and that's not under contract, that's actually ones that closed escrow. So the closed homes actually did decrease by quite a bit, 39%. And what that is it's just a byproduct of the previous month there being less new listings. So expect that to change too. That should increase. So one of the biggest things we try to figure out is what are homes selling above asking price? And that's been trending at about 4% above the asking price on the average. But I'm here to tell you that the homes that do go under contract in really quick. So if we look at the ones that went under contract in like 5 days or less, we're seeing that number be substantially higher. So if you're going to compete for a home in our market, it's not uncommon for you to have to go about 8 to 11% over the asking price to actually win the bid. And those numbers have been holding steady if you check out the chart. So it's been running about 104%, which just means 4% above. And lastly, for points, if you're a homeowner, this is the only one you care about, let's be real. And that is, what is the average home selling for now in Thurston County? And of course, this has been going up. I actually did the calculations, and it's been going up $4,730 every single month. But where we are currently is $524,046. Okay, so that's up about 11% just in this past 12 months, or $56,000 roughly if you want the actual number. So a little bit of advice: if you're looking to buy a home, knowing what I've told you now, that it is not likely that the prices are going to crash, and knowing that the interest rates are going to rise, probably some more, and we're approaching 5% now. There's people getting loans that are actually closing now that didn't already purchase the home a while back, closer to 5%. And we've been running so low on that for so long. So now would be the time to jump in if you haven't already. Now, I don't control interest rates, so there's a chance they pull back a little, but again, no guarantees there. So if you're looking to sell a home, obviously things are great right now and have been for a long time. The thing that may change is if we do see some buyers pull out of the market because they're priced out because the interest rate went up, which makes it less affordable to actually purchase a home at the prices you may be looking at. What that could signify is that if there's less people buying at any given time, there might be some situations where the home that you were to list may have gotten more offers this month or last month than they may in the future. So it might be a good time to think about putting that house on the market while that amount of buyers is high, because we can't always ensure that there'll still be a whole bunch of buyers for every house. That's going to taper off at some point. So as always, if you need some help interpreting your situation, you're looking to sell, you want to know the value of your home, you want to know if it's a good time, or if you're looking to buy and you need some advice and some guidance in how to navigate this market, feel free to send me a direct message. I am always available to help out anybody in need.